for people who are in a moment in their life where they're in full transition and they don't know what they want or where they're at. I've been in that. I mean, fuck, like, honestly, the year before I started this flower business, I was just literally like, it was the worst time in my life. We all have to like hit rock bottom a little bit.
This week, we had a chance to sit down with Spencer Falls, also known on Instagram as the Unlikely Florist. I found myself deep diving through an Instagram post of this beautiful, gorgeous dried floral arrangement with, honestly, flowers I had never ever seen before. I found myself looking at this oasis in Venice in this beautiful kind of rustic, gorgeous facility that Spencer has now made his floral shop. He gives us a backstory as to how he even found himself in the floral industry, having never even been a florist. And we're really refreshed by his perspective of finding simple joys that you can bring in without having to wait for special occasions. My girls, my guys, my group. This is MG Method, the show. For you, when you're not working, what are things that help you stay grounded and find balance in your life?
Yeah, I mean, the flowers and the work. For me, a great deal of satisfaction does come from my work. I do make sacrifices, whether that be a Saturday night that could be spent with friends, having a great time somewhere, and I choose to, spend it mulling over an idea or doing some of that research or that preparation work that will allow me to make the creation that I ultimately want to make, and it's a constant battle, am I missing out yet again on another great experience that I don't even know I'm missing out on?
Yeah.
Or am I right where I need to be, working towards creating that something or executing that thing? And you have to just trust your gut on that. Who are you truly? What do you truly want? And accepting what that is ultimately the path to happiness. So that we can take this guy and get him in here. Boy, yeah, he's healthy.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Don't you notice this a lot? Because part of this is like growing up and like the artist, right? Like you don't want what everybody else has, but there's also something probably really beautiful that they've found that they enjoy about it too. So not being attached to not using it either.
Yeah. It is so important to find your own voice amongst it all. So it is honestly, when I started making flower arrangements and started working with flowers, I didn't know any florists. I didn't follow any florists on Instagram. I didn't care to. I just kind of learned it through experience.
How did you start in that way?
I started.
We heard that giggle. What is that? Who is that?
That's the florist that I am. It's all a bit of a joke, really. The fact that I'm a florist is it's hilarious. The feeling of people buying my flower arrangements, I was literally laughing every time these people were buying my flower arrangements. The deal was, I'm acting, I'm living in LA. All I want to do is act. And I had that was my focus in the same way that flowers are now my focus. And I was working at a restaurant in order to kind of
survive,
exactly. And then I lost my job at that restaurant, and it was a great restaurant working with great people. So there was nothing wrong there. It was just the mere fact that I wanted to be acting, and I was prioritizing that, and I was working with my schedule, trying to not let anyone down. But in doing that, I kind of made it clear to them that my heart wasn't in it. And they were just kind of like, why are you here, bro? You should go do something that you like really want to do. And I was like, well, I'm doing that, but like you guys are supporting that. I said, when that job came to a close, in other words, when I was fired, I was like, all right, I've been living in this city long enough to know that there's so many ways that you can make money, right? Being that was the necessity, was to pay bills and make money. And I knew that I had this creative energy that I wanted to express, and I wasn't getting the roles as an actor that I wanted, that I would be like, creatively fulfilled by. And so I was like, well then if it's about creativity, let's just be creative like in every moment. Like let's be creative with how we're going to make money. I need to be creative with how I make my money. So it was creativity like found itself into every decision, not just like the art itself, into life. And so I decided that what had kind of been a joke or maybe something that I'd laughed about in the past, I was like, I'm just gonna go buy flowers downtown and bring them back here and sell them out of my van on Abbot Kinney, which was just like swarming with people. And I was like, there's a potential client, those two, that dude wants to buy that chick flowers for sure. And so, I just did it. And I was like, okay, I'm a florist now. And so it was like, I knew nothing about floristry. And I was like, these people are buying it. And it was kind of also like a bit of an act. It was like, I'm now a florist because I say so, What makes me a florist? Nothing makes me any more a florist today than yesterday, except I've got flowers. So it was like this act. My van was the stage. I was the Unlikely Florist. And, I was helping these people get flowers.
It seems like you've transitioned to so many different things that you do. Can you talk a little bit about being able to let go of the attachment of like your title? For example, if you were like snowboarding or you were a lobster fisherman, because sometimes we feel so stuck, like I am the teacher or the interviewer or whatever it is in our life, and sometimes we feel like we have this loss of identity because we think we are something, but it seems like you found a way to stay connected to yourself through many different things. Can you speak on that?
I think it's honestly maybe one of these systemic things, right? But it is crazy that we do let our professions define us at times, And why I say I think that it's systemic is because we're all sort of asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do when you grow up? And it's like that end gaining. Like there will come a time where I'll be the person that I've always wanted to be. It's like, what? No, that's not how life works. But that's how it's sort of taught to work. And so we all go to university or college. I didn't, but there is that consensus, and there is the need for education. There's no doubt about it. Depending on what it is that you want to do with your life, you all go with this like intention that then I will have that degree and I'll be that doctor or that lawyer or that architect or whatever. And then you find yourself not interested in that. So where I feel like I've been so lucky was that I just had supportive parents, no matter what it was that I did. And they exposed me to all sorts of incredible opportunities and environments that life had to offer. I bought it. It was all together, tore it apart, cleaned it all up. It was missing a piston. See, I can't even remember the words. It's been so long since I worked on it. It was missing a piston and a spark plug, and had some sort of bits and pieces. The seat was all janky. Anyway, I've literally taken it apart and have been putting it together for a couple months now. It was kind of like one of those quarantine projects, and then, making my business work through a pandemic has kind of taken a priority. So he sits here ready to go at some point. All in good time, I guess. Patience.
Many of us, I feel like we're not qualified. Like we're just not. I've like trained clients physically as a trainer and always felt like I'm not qualified to do the work. And you find your like groove in what you're doing and realize like sometimes it's not even maybe the flowers, it's like those other side conversations. It's not like the actual exercises or the reps. It's like someone gets, comes to a workout and they're like devastated because they're in a fight with their husband. And it's like, oh, that's what made me a good trainer, but also just like it called you to become a better person. And it had nothing to do with the arrangement or the workout or, the job title or whatever. And so you're like, oh, who am I gonna become in these moments? Like what type of person? And yeah, it's nice to hear someone that like from the outside, we see the shop and we see the campaigns. And so we're not as privy to those nights where you go, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah. I also just honestly don't think anyone knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like really, being a business owner, you have to wear all these hats, right? So it's like, sure, I'm a florist, but I'm also counting dollars and cents to make sure that bills get paid. So I have to be an accountant. And then I'm also like having to make sure that like the brand looks a certain way. So like, am I a creative director? And I need to like create that pitch for that project because I don't have the money to pay someone else to do it. So now I'm a graphic designer too, And so you do all that shit and then you look at these people who are graphic designers and accountants and this and that, and you start to talk to them and you're just like, you're telling me not to spend that money? Bro, you don't actually know. You're my accountant and you're telling me not to do this, but I actually know because I just fucking know, Like it's a feeling, it's not based on numbers, it just is, it's the right move. Or, you're talking to the graphic designer and you're asking them to do something and create the vibe that you want and they're not getting it. Or they just like don't care as much as you care, so you put in that energy to make it the way you want it. You can fucking be just as good as anyone at any given time. It's just a matter of like just caring so much that you just won't let it fall beneath the standard that you hold clearly in your mind or something.
What are you working on?
We have a couple of arrangements to make. We've been cranking out a few different arrangements today. But what I'm going to make here are two of our arrangements that we have on the website. This one, or the one that goes
On the
in
subscription model.
These ones are really just like gift deliveries. These are more subscription model
gorgeous.
bouquets. Yeah. So we wrap these in burlap and set them on people's doorsteps all over the place.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So this is a king protea. This one's dried, right? So, but this is the sort of shape that it has, and it's incredible when it's fresh.
What color is it usually when it's fresh?
It can be here. You can take it.
Yeah.
It's it can be either like a blush, right? Or it can be a bright white. And protea is in a sense a bit of a staple flower of mine. I love them. I love the versatility of them. These are also protea here, but a different type. This is like kind of a more tropical vibe about it, right?
The texture's nice.
It is, isn't
like
it?
Fluff.
Like feathers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're amazing. And then they just dry beautifully. Like, that will be like that forever. And maybe it loses its like fresh and its like vibrant, bright colors, but ultimately it still maintains its like integrity.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like sculptural. The shape is beautiful. So
timeless.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, like maybe the tone isn't like all the way there, but you can kind of see the red stem and how that ties into the palette that we're creating. Same to be said with this sumac, which has like these little pink flowers that haven't bloomed yet, and they actually won't now that it's cut, but it just kind of is a little tie-in, and ultimately we'll probably touch it up with a bit of this wax flower, just as a nice vibrant color.
So you usually have a process with how you create? Do you like to listen to music?
Absolutely.
I was like, what's your vibe? What do you have? Do you have anything that's like a staple for you that like every time you are gonna create, you like to set a tone and an energy or anything that you do beforehand?
Yeah, I mean,
He's like, no.
I always love to be listening to music,
Okay.
like really. That also depends on what kind of situation I'm in. Do I have 5 hours and 2 arrangements to make? All right, let's listen to some jazz and let's just like hang out, maybe smoke a doobie, I don't know. Or if I've got like 20 arrangements to make in like 3 hours, I'm like, okay, so let's get some techno going and let's go. Nah, I'm not always ripping the techno, but definitely maybe some rap or something like that.
Yeah?
Oh, for sure.
You can play music. I don't want to interrupt like the vibe. I want to know how you.
No, I mean,
You can play. Go ahead.
I can play some music,
Yeah.
but we also, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that if there's got to be a rock bottom, because if there's not a rock bottom, there's not like a sky or the top. So you kind of have to test out the range and the places that you can go. You find these little tricks to like trick your mind, because it's all like perception, right? You kind of manifest your reality. If you can trick your mind into loving the bottom and being so stoked that you're like fucking failing and life sucks, like you will manifest your way out of that, because positivity begets more positivity and people want to be around that energy. They don't want to be around that shit energy. And so opportunities come, people get interested and you feel great, and all of a sudden the way you find excitement being at the bottom is you're just about to fucking hit the top. You're literally like, oh my God, this sucks. Amazing, because I'm about to go. It's about to get way better. So like, that's a relief.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can keep that close, that feeling close. You're in those trenches and you go, okay, there's something more for all of us. And if you can keep like harnessing that closely, you start to move like something beautiful can happen at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's manifested.
Yeah.
Like, it's like it only is because you say it is.
Yeah.
If you keep saying nothing's gonna happen and this all sucks, like, why would the universe provide anything else? Because you're literally saying, this sucks, nothing's gonna happen. Oh my God, life sucks. Guess what? It still sucks. If you start saying like, yeah, it sucks, but life will go on and I don't imagine it's gonna suck forever. So I can't wait for the day that it all turns around and gets awesome. Like, that's gonna be awesome. Sweet, all right. And all of a sudden, like, you can just hear it in your voice and you can just like feel it in your bones. It's like, great, I'm actually a little bit excited for that day whenever it comes. Fuck, I hope it comes tomorrow, but like, you can't control that. And I think honestly, in this time more than ever, we must all be like feeling that. It's a really rough time for everyone, both, economically and socially, and the universe is on this like rock bottom kind of vibe. And again, it's really like exciting because what's going to come of it? Change is going to come, like social change, equality for all. The people that care about the things that are important are going to see appreciation, because honestly, from my perspective, the people who don't care about like the right things have been seeing a hell of a lot of appreciation in the recent, years. Consumerism and, money-driven motivation, all that sort of stuff has been a major part of certainly American culture in recent years. And it oppresses and holds back and creates a system that doesn't help people grow. And so things are going to change. Like, they just have to. That's the ebb and flow.
Good times are coming.
Yeah,
Yes.
Good times are coming. I think so.
Yes.
And if we say so, if we make it so.
Yeah.
What would you say to artists who struggle feeling like they need more to be able to start to create more fully? Like, so they feel like they need more equipment or they need the shop, you know, what would you say to the artist who's like, well, I can't create right now with what I have?
Yeah, the idea that like you don't have the inspiration or you don't have the means to execute what you want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a mental barrier, you know? And in times it's absolutely true and legitimate. But the only way to get over that hurdle is to acquire the means that you need to do your thing, or adjust what you need in order to be fulfilled or be creative in the way that you want to be. So if I need to have a chainsaw, I love a chainsaw, I don't have a chainsaw. If I need to have a chainsaw, this is literally like, here's my thing. Like these are stems here, right? All these flowers are stems. But so too is like this piece of wood over here, right? This too is a bit of a stem. Obviously it doesn't have flowers on it, but working with wood, natural wood, and wanting to make cuts in that wood, etc. I really wanted a chainsaw, but chainsaw costs, I don't know, $500. Do I have $500 right now? I mean, maybe, but do I want to spend $500 right now? Like, I don't know if I'm like, that's where I'm at with my creation that I want to create with this. I don't know if I've earned the right to spend $500 towards a creation I've never made. So why don't I instead get a reciprocating saw and and like this does the same kind of thing. It doesn't have the same scale to it. Sorry, I'm not doing much good for the audio. But ultimately, that's gonna cut it. And so this is a fraction of the cost. I can get to like work into the creation that I'm trying to come up with without having to spend all that money I don't have or take that risk I don't want to make. So it's compromise, you know? But it's true that you do need tools and you do need certain things in order to create. And as for the concept of like a space, I mean, this space and having this space has birthed the idea in so many ways of so many things that from my mind that I otherwise wouldn't have had the space to literally create it because you don't have the space. Like, and I was so lucky to get my hands on such a space as this. Like there's a swing set in the corner over there that is like that beam that goes, I guess that's got to be like 15 feet. That one long beam there, that one that's leaning up against the wall.
Oh, right here, yes.
That's like the crossbar for a swing that I made for a company for a music festival a few years back. And that's something that I would never have been able to take on, that opportunity or that project, if I didn't have 2,000 square feet, you know, and 25-foot high ceilings to create that. So space can give you the opportunity to conceive your ideas because your ideas may get so big, and then compromise can give you the ability to achieve a portion of what you'd like to create, to try it out, to see if the idea is good, and to see if you want to pursue it and invest further into it, not only your time, but also your money and everything.
Intelligent. Because you know I would have bought the chainsaw.
I mean, it's hard not to.
Yeah. But
because
like you're right.
Your vision of it is this big, and so you need a chainsaw to do that. And you don't want to make it this big because that's not what you want to make. You want to make it this big. But ultimately, you're still in like an exploratory kind of way. So why not just like tone it down? And in fact, you can actually make it this big with your reciprocating saw. It's not quite as easy. Maybe you have to like make some adjustments, but it can be done. So, you know, you gotta pay your dues.
Yes, thanks for.
My mum would always say, "Be here now," you know, and would always give me shit for like acting like a 30-year-old when I was like 5 or something. But I think that it comes back to that too. It's just being in the moment, you know. You can't Anxiety is like projection of like what will come, and you can't predict what will come, but having that anxiety will affect what you're doing in the moment, and it won't help you. And reflecting on the past or being in regret is only going to again take you away from the moment that is now. Shit's gonna happen in life, and some things are gonna work and some things aren't, and some things are gonna surprise you and some things are gonna be predictable, but you know, everything will be much easier if you just enjoy being in the moment and letting life kind of sort of dictate your life, and not thinking you have control over it or that you know what you want or have the answers. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, you know, and I do not know if I'm a florist or not, you know. I don't ask any of my, you know, workers to be any particular role. They all have their talents and they all, you know, work hard to make everything work. But, you know, sometimes they're behind the computer doing a bit of this, sometimes they're making flower arrangements, sometimes they're dipping out on a delivery. And that's the tone that I set, because sometimes I'm making a flower arrangement, sometimes I'm building a floralier or a meditation nest, sometimes I'm having a chat with you, and that to me is all the work that I do, you know. And then you get so much, you get to enjoy it so much, and then it's like, oh sick, and now I get to make a flower arrangement because I have the time to do that, and now I've happened to have the time to do this, and so you get to appreciate each of those things when you get to do them, and you don't find yourself in a monotony of like doing what you do and just doing it because you're good at it. You want to do things because you love them and because you appreciate them, and the world's better for you doing them, and you're better because you have the opportunity to do it.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I want to end on that one. Yeah. Yes.
Cool.
Yes. Yes.
So easy.
Beautiful.
I love it. Like you guys, we just sort of started chatting in the studio, and you guys were rolling and just happened, and then we sat down here and started talking and rolling. And it was like, okay, that's how we do it. And then it's over and we're done.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.